Welcome to lecture number 47 of the series Unreal 5 for Archviz, and in this lecture we'll animate these canvas panels. So let's get started. First of all, I'll select this main menu and I'll delete it because I've placed all of my images on their positions, so I don't need that reference image anymore. Okay, now I'll select this canvas panel, this one, and I'm gonna rename this as main canvas panel. Okay, let's now go into window and I'll add animations window. Now I'll select this canvas panel. I'll click on this add animation option and I'm gonna rename this animation as main underscore canvas underscore ANM. Okay, I'll select this animation and I'll add a track of this canvas panel. Now I want to add an opacity animation on this canvas, so I'll click on track and I'll add render opacity property. Let's delete this keyframe. I'll jump to frame number 20 and I'll increase the render opacity to 1 and add frame number 0. I'll bring this down to 0. Okay, now if I'll press spacebar on my keyboard to play this animation, you can see that we have a very nice opacity animation. Yeah, okay. Let's now select this menu, this canvas, and I'll add an animation. I'm gonna rename this as bedroom underscore menu underscore ANM. Okay, I'll select this animation and let's add a track. Now for this canvas, I'm looking for a scaling up animation. Okay, so I'll add a transform property. I'll open the scaling property. And at frame number, let's say 20 or maybe 25, I'll add a keyframe. And at frame number 0, I'll put this down to 0. Now if I'll play my animation, you can see that we have a scaling up animation on x-axis. Okay, but you can see that this animation is scaling up from the middle. I don't want this canvas to scale up from the middle. I want this animation to scale up from the left hand side, from this point. Okay, for that what we need to do is we need to set the pivot point of this canvas panel. So I'll go into this pivot properties and on x-axis I'll put this down to 0. After putting this down to 0, when I'll play my animation, you can see that my canvas panel is scaling up from the left hand side. Okay, if I'll set my pivot point on x-axis at 0.5, my canvas panel will not scale up from the left hand side, it will scale up from the middle. Similarly, if I'll increase this to 1, now if I'll play my animation, you can see that my canvas panel will scale up from the right hand side. Same is the case for y-axis, so I'll set this to 0 because I want my canvas panel to scale up from the left hand side. Okay, yeah. Similarly, I'll select this one and let's add an animation. I'll change this to living room underscore ANM. Similarly for this one, I don't think I need to add menu. Okay. Now in the same way, you can add an animation for this one as well. Or what you can also do is you can copy this transform property, select this bathroom menu, add an animation. Let's rename this animation as bathroom underscore ANM. I'll select this animation and let's add a track. And by selecting this track, I can press Ctrl V on my keyboard to paste that transform property. Now all I have to do is I just need to change the pivot point on x-axis at 0 and that's it. Let's play the animation. Yeah, I think this is perfect. Similarly, let's add opacity animation on these canvas panels. I'll select bathroom lights and let's add an animation. I'll rename this animation as bedroom underscore lights underscore ANM. I'll add a track and let's add render opacity property. I'll delete this keyframe. Let's jump to frame number 25. Yeah, I'll increase this to 1. Let's add a keyframe I'll move to frame number 0 and I'll bring this down to 0. Let's play this animation. Yeah, I think this is perfect. Now, because I want to add the same animation on these canvas panels, so I can just copy this render opacity property and I'll select living room lights. I'll add an animation. I'm gonna rename this as living room underscore lights underscore A&M. I'll select this animation. Let's add a track and I'll select this track and I'll press Ctrl V on my keyboard to paste that animation. Let's bring this down to 0.25. Yeah, okay. Let's do one more together and then I'll time lapse the others. I'll select this bathroom lights canvas panel. Let's add an animation. I'm gonna rename this animation as bathroom underscore lights underscore A&M. I'll select this animation. Let's add a track and I'll select this track to paste this render opacity property. Okay. Let's bring this down to 0.25. Okay, so I've animated all of these. Let's double check our animations. I'll select this one and yeah, this one seems to be okay. This one looks good as well. Yeah, I think everything is working properly. Let's select this canvas panel, this one, and I want to bring down the render opacity. There it is. And I think the render opacity of 0.5 will look okay. Now be advised, this has nothing to do with this render opacity animation, okay? So yes, that's it for this lecture. In the next lecture, we'll start programming our blueprints for this interactive walkthrough menu, okay? So yes, I'll see you guys in the next one.